the stream. There we go. I'll bring me in, bring this down. And here we go. X's Expresso here, a little late on a Wednesday. I got my cold brew from downstairs. I'm up in the room. I thought it'd be better to shoot the show from here today. And just felt a little better about to hear the audio. So I guess we're going, which is good news. Bring that down. There we go. Lot to get to, but not a lot to get to. There's not a lot to really talk about last night, except for what I'm sure most of you guys are here to hear about. I'm going to give that to you in a moment, as I do have good to see you, John. How you doing, John? Hope you're doing well. Oops, sorry about that. Bring the volume down. What I don't like about the room, well, the room's fine, but it gives me some funky lighting, so I got to kind of move up or move back, and it kind of, one of the things that, I've got to adjust the lighting a little bit here. That's a little better. But there we go. Dan Vaughn with you, voice of the Explorers on KSCJ and A Baseball TV. Glad you all got my cold brew nitro from downstairs. I thought I would try the internet up here today. The couple of times I shot a show like this in Canada, I shot them from a couple locations that have pretty strong Wi-Fi. They're usually coffee shops, local places, and I found a really good random of randoms, an Argentine pizza restaurant that was really, really good, and solid place to shoot though. But the show is X's Expresso, and we are live in Canada. We talk X's baseball every Monday through Friday when we're not traveling during the lunch hour. I'm a little late today. My walk. I'm back in the workout trend really hardcore again, which I'm really excited about because I really was so swamped early on taking this job with just a few days' notice that I really got behind the 8-ball workout-wise. But I feel better. I feel energized. When I get a chance to get my walk in, and I think we're all like this. We get a good morning, we get a good sleep, and a good morning, and get our things going. It just energizes you. So I'm energized, and love you guys to have your questions and comments here from Canada. Again, we are on the 28th floor of the Radisson, so there's that. But all right, first off, the team lost last night, 9-8, a heartbreaker again. We're down 8-0. You nearly came back and probably would have been the most epic comeback of the year by a mile. It didn't work out that way. But the real concern was what happened last night in the field. I've done this broadcast thing a few years, 900 plus games in this league, another, 600 and plus games, about almost 1,500 games I've done in professional baseball. I've never seen a guy get hit in the head like that last night. I've never seen that. It was disturbing. It was tough. Trenton, top of the car, in case you missed it last night, in the third inning, Devian Williams hits a line drive right back at the box, and we see this. We see line drives up the box time and time again. Guys wave at her, hits their glove or their ankle. Usually, and I believe the stat was something less than 1% of line drives hit a guy in the head. It's very, very minimal. But it's a dangerous situation. And it hit Trenton as he's a right-hander coming off. He's like this. His head was exposed, hit him right about there. Right about there. You can see in the binoculars he had he had a bruise on his head, and it was a scary situation. I've not. He immediately went down, writhing. Went down. I'm sure those blows to the head will cause you to lose you just go down, you lose your faculties. He was laying there, and of course, Bruce Fishback, our trainer, who's so well respected in the business. I mean, we are so fortunate to have Bruce, who has been the head man at South Dakota for years and trained under some really great facilities over the years in Mobile and undergrad at Nebraska. And the guy's seen a lot and has a lot of experience and is just phenomenal. He comes racing out. Obviously, Steve Montgomery's out. Their trainer came racing out. The medics who were there came racing out. So everybody was right there, and there was really good attentive care, which you would expect. And Bruce was in control of the situation in the ballpark. They did not leave the ballpark until after the ball game. They monitored him. What happens in those situations, if you guys have ever perhaps, there's a little better lighting there. The room's clean, so there's that. If you ever had someone get hit in the head, or with concussion protocols, all that, of course, they don't mess around. And it is a monitoring situation where you don't just test once and say, yep, you're fine. No, you multiple test, you test over and over again. It's an ongoing process. Concussions, unlike just about any other injury in sport, I mean, pulled muscle, you pull it, you're probably not going to pull it any worse if you just lay down, right? If you stay off the hamstring, you're probably going to be okay, right? It's going to heal. It's going to take some time. Concussions aren't like that. Concussions can have lasting days down the road, implications. I know there's athletes that have had retirement issues, NFL players. I know my oldest is an equestrian in college. When she was undergrad, had an incident where she had a concussion during a ride, and those effects weren't initial. They were down. They built up, and I know she had some trouble with her classes, with seeing things on a projector and things like that. And it was hard, and it's hard. So you test these concussion protocols on a rapid basis, and Bruce was doing that the entire game last night. A gentleman named Stefan came up and updated me a couple times last night what was going on, so I could update you guys in the broadcast. And that was part one. Again, I've done this a long time. I've never seen a guy get hit square in the head like that. I've seen guys have it bounce, hit him in the face. I've seen guys obviously hit on the hands, the leg, on the chest. I think I've seen a guy have it bounce and graze the nose, hurt the nose. I've never seen one hit him in the face. I took one in my orbital bone in high school. So I've been through this. Unfortunately, when I took one in the orbital bone in high school, on prom night, by the way, that morning, my poor prom date was mortified when she saw me show up at the door in sunglasses. And I mean, and my dad thought it was funny, but I looked like I'd been in a heavyweight championship bout. But mine was right over the orbital bone, and my eye swelled up like a baseball. And back then, I know that I was out of it, and we didn't have protocols then. This was late 80s. So you can only imagine, how things have changed. So anyway, last night, following the ball game, they did take Trenton to the local hospital. He went a CT scan last night. That was precautionary. Apparently that was all. And what those do, they're looking for internal things, right? Looking for things that we can't see on the surface, what you can't see in the protocols. And I was told before the CT scan, they felt pretty strongly it was going to be negative, and it was. He stayed because of what concussions do. He did stay overnight in hospital, being evaluated, just to make sure. There's been some very horrific cases over the years where folks seem normal after being hit with a blunt to the head. They seem fine, and then things have happened, and they didn't want that to happen. They want to have monitoring care. He was there. He was fine. Let me give the official word, though. The official word, I'm going to quote it because I want to make sure that I get this right, because this is what is very important that you guys know, that there's a couple things in play here. His CT scan ended up normal last night. He stayed in hospital. Everything was well. He suffered a concussion, but no loss of consciousness. So concussion, yes, no loss of consciousness. So that was the first thing. So that was definitely the diagnosis after the ball game, which it really shouldn't come as a surprise. You got a ball 90 plus miles an hour going one way, come back at you another 100 plus miles an hour the other way, hit you in the head. I think that's going to probably be a concussion. I think it takes, I'm not a doctor to even know that, but I mean, I think that's pretty safe to say. They have protocols to follow his return. Currently, the timetable for that is based on his progress within the protocols. So no date's been set yet. I would expect he would probably miss at least one start, maybe two. and it'd be up, and it may be some of it to him too. But God, I got something in my eye again. A little dusty out there today when I was walking. Um, in the NFL, for example, in college football, it's usually, a guy gets concussed on a Saturday. Oftentimes, to be come back the next Saturday or the next Sunday, they've got to go through all the litany of tests. And by Wednesday, usually, if they're not passing by Wednesday or Thursday, they're ruled out. And that's, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 or 5 day window there. And again, this is kind of loosely based. The college ranks are different than the NFL, but there's a protocol in place, and they will monitor those. He will not be cleared to go back in the rotation until those protocols are cleared. And they're gonna be differently going forward, because now the concussion's been ruled. That's what happened. They're gonna be monitoring the symptoms. They will also see the recovery time. It's brain trauma. I mean, we talked about hamstrings earlier, or a sore shoulder. This is trauma to the brain, and this is going to take a step-by-step process that'll be ongoing to return from the concussion. So that is the official word. Don't believe, again, Friday's out. So, and again, this could be a very, very short time, one start, which is the ideal situation. And I think that window would be right. If it's a 5-day window on the protocols, and if he gets to Friday and he's okay, he goes back in the rotation the next 5 days. I think that would be standard procedure. But again, he's got to pass the concussion protocol. So at the moment, there's no timetable for Trenton's return. But I hope you guys will all, if you're a person of faith or not, whatever it is, just have good thoughts, good vibes, good prayers, whatever. Whatever it is you do, I hope you guys will give that love and back to him. I'm a praying person, so I will be praying, but you guys do what you see fit. But I want as much love and support for Trenton Toplicar. I mentioned last on the broadcast a story that really touched me this year was when my wife got her doctorate a couple weeks ago. He sought me out when I got back to Fargo to ask me how it all went. And I just thought that was a classy thing. He'd met my wife the week before, and I thought it was a really classy move. This is a team full of fine young men of various backgrounds, creeds, nations, and they're a really good group of kids. Kids to me, because I'm, my 50s, but they're fine young men, and they represent Sioux City in our organization top notch. So again, that's the update here. Take your questions and comments live from Canada. Last night, as the game goes, it's a classic example. Lincoln beats you in a couple of games because of why? Their offense clicked, and their bullpen shut you down when they got a lead, and their comeback was stifled, where you just stopped. Winnipeg's bullpen, well, they had this random 2-inning start for one guy, and then their starter came in behind him. But they had a hard time, getting you out, and you made a comeback. Why did you not come back? Well, you fell into an 8-0 hole, and that was part of it. And the big thing too, we talk about this comeback thing and why Lincoln was able to take a couple of ball games from you, because you quit scoring and their bullpen shut you down. That didn't happen. You made an unearned run that was costly last night. Brandon Heiss, who pitched very well overall, considering where he's come from, because he's really struggled. I mean, Brendan's really struggled since he's gotten here. 90 plus, mid-90s fat arm, but has been all over the place walks-wise. I believe he came in with 10 walks in 3 2/3 innings last night. He gave an inherited runner to score 2, I believe, and then he also was charged with one himself. I'm sorry. He gave up 1 inherited runner. He was charged with 2 runs, and he was charged with 1 earned run, because the latter run coming 2 innings later was a combination of 2 stolen bases and error, which really had a lot of suspects in the problem, because you have a pitcher, catcher, infielders all should be in this. They were all suspects in that run coming home, where Winnipeg manufactured a huge run, and that was the difference the ball game. It's 8-0. You tie the ball game 8-8. You're playing extra innings, or perhaps playing to win playing to go ahead. And the X's were right there at the very end. The tying runs at third. The going runs at second. And Winnipeg was just holding on by for dear life. And it was close. And Fernandez was the final batter. I thought Vince was going to hit one in the alley or not out of the ballpark. The ball didn't travel well last night here. Thick air, very humid. It was 78% humidity, I believe, by the time at that point in the ball game. Thick air, humid. I was talking to Greg Taggart, their manager, in the hotel last night. Said, yeah, it was thick. It was like being in Houston or New Orleans. Have you ever been down there in the summer? You've been in New Orleans in general. It's humid all the time, even in December. Some real thick air there. All right, what else we got here? I'll take your questions and comments. Let me pull those questions and comments up and see. We come your way here from Canada here on X's Expresso. And our friends at Hawks in Sergeant Bluff, they're part of this too. I was so excited when I went to Hawks on Sunday and saw a couple of salt dogs there from Lincoln. I believe they had 6 members of their team make trips over there over the weekend supporting Hawks, a local establishment, a friend of ours, and very thankful for that support. And they also ordered the X's Expresso. You can order that and for the month of July, and I believe it'll probably carry over, and you can probably get it in August, because I know they'll do it in August for you. But it's the July special. It's a hot. It's a cold brew with a s'mores flavoring foam. It's really, really good. And that's courtesy of the one and only Salmon Bates. He'll pitch on Friday when we get home. Salmon missed you too, by the way, mate, but good vibes for you as well. I know he and Trenton are very close and have been close for a while, and I know that Salmon probably was just beside himself last night, but great care for Bruce Fishback and company here last night. Couple things coming up tonight, and I want to give this to you. There's a couple things coming up. First off, let's go in reverse this weekend. This weekend, we've got a really cool thing going on, and let me see if I can find it here. Somewhere along here. We've got this weekend the flyover with the refueling KC-135s. Where is that? Let me pull this up here for you if you'll bear with me here. I don't know why I'm going reverse, but I believe, Molly, if you're watching, that is Joe Gatewood is the gentleman we're honoring. He was Commander Joe Gatewood of the United States Navy, passing in 2009, but he served our country, graduate University of Nebraska. He's from Sioux City area, went to Sioux City High School, born in Wayne, Nebraska. He was flying the F-4 Phantoms in Vietnam. He was also on 3 carrier decks. He flew the F-14 Tomcat, which is another well-known Navy plane that's on the top, flat top carriers, which I believe he was on the Carl Vinson. He was on, let me see here, the Kitty Hawk and the Coral Sea he served on. He was a commander turning to commander in 1984, flight instructor for the Air Force, the Navy at Elgin and Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Retired in 1990. He passed in 2009, but we're honoring him this weekend. And he, let's see here. I'm trying to find it. And when they went to when they would transfer those flights to the Middle East, he would be refueled by those KC-135 tankers. Those will be flying over on Saturday night. Is that correct, Molly? I hope you're watching, but I believe it's Saturday night. But that's item number 1. So that's the flyover Saturday in honor of the commander as well. And a really cool deal. We'll talk more about that as the week goes on. And the family will be there throwing up first pitches and all that. So it should be really cool. Tonight, for you folks in town tonight, what are you doing? Well, you're going to be watching the ball game, right? Well, why not go watch the game with all your mates, all your Sioux City mates, grab them all together. Let's go to the Wheelhouse. Now, I won't be there, but the team will be there, and the fans will be there. The Wheelhouse, watch the game out on this big screen. X's Winnipeg Gold-Eye watching party. We'll be giving away the use of a luxury suite at Lewis and Clark Park for an upcoming game for you and 11 of your closest mates. You must be present to win. If you want to win that, you got to show up tonight at the watching party at the Wheelhouse. Game time 6:35 tonight, hosted by our sponsor, the Wheelhouse Bar and Grill, 4501 Southern Hills Drive. There in Sioux City. I've been there many times. I was there Saturday, following the ball game. Kevin Luca and I shared a couple of cold ones there with this week of the association. Admission's free, of course. Ask for the Explorer's drink of the night. It's the Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb. I'm not really sure what that is, but I bet it's good. Wear your X's gear, support the ball club again. You got to be present to win, but you got a chance to win a suite at the ballpark. Suites are sweet. It's the good life. So that is in play tonight again at the good folks at the Wheelhouse Bar and Grill, 4501 Southern Hills Drive, just up the hill from the ballpark. It's like overlooking the ballpark nearly. Not quite, but it's, you guys know where it is. That's tonight. That will be at 6:35. It says 6:30. The game is actually at 6:35. Okay, little limited questions. Sorry for I was a little late today. A, getting the protocol update, and B, it's a little muggy out there. I was still sweating when we went on the air. Last call for questions and comments. We'll be back tomorrow to look back at last night. Look back at tonight. Tomorrow we'll look back at last night, which will be tomorrow. Same time. We'll be at noon, though, a little closer to noon tomorrow. Right on Facebook Live. Broadcast tonight. Of course, 2 places to go. If you guys have the AA Baseball app, you can do AA Baseball TV. That is the live video stream. But remember, we're not a video call. We're a radio play-by-play call, but you can catch the video right there. And, of course, our friends at KSCJ. We do the radio side for tonight. Austin will be in the studio. Looking forward. I hadn't even gotten the broadcast planned out yet. We talked to Mongo last night. I don't know who we'll talk to tonight. But we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure, and get you ready for game number 2. Austin Drury going tonight. He's been really, really in a great group. He's got 3 consecutive quality starts, 4 out of 5, 6 out of 8. He's been really solid. Just kind of settling in. He'll be facing Lamberosa, a young man from another part of their back-to-back Canadian rotation going tonight. He is a right-hander, so righty-lefty tonight. On KSCJ, airtime at 6:05, or actually after Mark Hahn's news, right about 6:06. Will come your way from here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, last call. Don't see anybody else out there. John was going to see you there. I'm kind of surprised today. Or maybe because I'm late today, but I'm surprised we didn't get a lot more traffic. Again, the news, in case you missed it, Trenton Toplicard did have a concussion. He has a concussion. He's going under further protocols. He was overnight in the hospital last night just as a precaution, and they want you want to make sure all things are good. He also went to a positive CT scan, and he is resting here, but is in concussion protocol. He has not been given a return date yet. He's got to go through all the protocols for that'll be set. Obviously that means he's out for the weekend, and earliest return will be the next time around in the rotation. But the most important thing is his return. He never lost consciousness. He didn't have any. There was a visible bruise on the head, but again, got hit right about there. And tip of the cap to Bruce Fishbach and the entire staff here for what they did last night, springing into action and just pulling for Trenton. And again, just a fine young man. And you hate to see that happen. And well, that's it. That's what I got to tell you. I mean, that's what you guys really want to hear anyway today. And I know that's an important part of all of our minds. So thoughts and prayers for Trenton. All right. You guys ready for some 1, 2, 3 go X's? I'm ready. You're ready. We're all ready. Broadcast tonight. Try to get a win. My knee-jerk thoughts about last night quickly. It's another 1-run loss, another heartbreaking loss. They're stacking up. You're back to 500. Kansas City's scuffling, but you've been scuffling. After getting off to a great 7-3 start, you've lost 4 in a row in the second half. Luckily, Lincoln got shillelied last night. Fargo did win, but remember, you do have the upper hand on Fargo. You're going to see them on Monday. this team just needs to get a series win and get things going and get the baseball math going. Right now, if the playoffs began, you'd be in, but optically, it's sort of up and down. And Winnipeg, they wear uniforms too, but they're in the cellar for a reason. And you need to take advantage of that. Even if you're shorthanded, you are going to be shorthanded again tonight. But take advantage of the opportunity here. And again, just do what you got to do. This whole logjam should separate itself and work itself out. But the X's just have not had any luck and have a very bad break. It's just been a real frustrating stretch where this team has had 8-game stretches of just magnificent baseball, then 6-game stretches of just you're not sure what's going on. That's the nature of this game. And sometimes teams are streaky. This team is streaky. But I really believe that this thing, now the top of the car injury is going to be a question mark hovering on this team for a while. But if you do what you got to do, I think this team's set up for a good August. If they can get to July with the winning record, I think August will be the opportunity, which has notoriously been the story for Steve Montgomery's teams. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go X's. Let's see you in the broadcast tonight. Here we go. All right, 1, 2, 3, go X's. I'll see you in the broadcast. Not everybody.